All right, we're recording. So real quick, you already know Joe. I think you guys have trained together with Samuel before,
Sure.
and I'm also one of Samuel's students and Joe's business partner. My name's Johnathan Knight. So, man,
Awesome.
it's an honor to have you on here, dude.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Edwin.
Appreciate
This is
it.
awesome, man.
Of course.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so just wanted to kick this thing off, man. Kind of going back in time to when we first met, man. I remember when you came to Samuel's, this was like right before you were still like a popular competitor, but this was right before you popped off by like hitting the flying
2013.
triangle on Maryville and everything like that, man. So like, what do you remember about that time, man? What brought you over to Knoxville? What was your life like back then? How was it different?
To be honest, I sucked at jiu-jitsu back then. I would say, like, I was popular, but I wasn't that good at jiu-jitsu. And I think I just got my purple belt. Actually, it was 2012. I was like considered one of the best blue belts, I guess, and I won all the tournaments that year. And then I fought the worlds at blue belt, and then I actually got flying triangle. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but like before I started flying triangle people, like, I got flying triangle. And I had nightmares about that for like years. I don't think I ever even told anyone this. Wasn't really like a flying triangle, but I tapped the first four guys, I believe, and then in the quarterfinals of the worlds, I pull guard, and the guy jumps over me to mount. And then I push him off mount, and he triangles me. So it's kind of like a half flying triangle, half mount, half flying mount, whatever. My point is that I thought I was good, and I lost the world, and then I got my purple belt, and then I think I had 2 fights. I fought 2 tournaments of purple belt, and I got like absolutely crushed. I'm like, holy shit, I suck. I need to learn the barren bolo. I need to add something to my game. And then Home was like, you should go train with Samuel. And I don't even know. I can't remember if I knew. I think I knew Samuel already, but I wasn't that cool with him. Like, yeah, I was like kind of scared of him. You know, when you're lower belt, you're scared of the senseis.
Yeah.
And Samuel's pretty intimidating, I would say. You know, he has like he might be a small guy, but he has that, like, he doesn't back down. So like he's a tough guy. So I think I hit him up and I was like, yo, man, can I come train for a couple of days? And I think I ended up staying for a couple of weeks. I can't remember.
A month, if I
Almost
remember.
a month, I want to say. I think I was there for at least a month. And yeah, dude, that was probably one of the best decisions of my life. I think that truly made me a beast. That like taught me the grind. I thought I was training hard until I came to Knoxville. And then Samuel was like, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and train with me. I'm like, holy shit, bro. It's like 6 a.m. I don't want to fucking train. And he would beat the shit out of me. And then I trained with Samuel again at 11 and then 12 and then again at night. So I literally trained with Samuel, like personally roll with him 4 times a day, every day for a month. And I don't think I scored an advantage on him. He beat the shit out of me for a month. But I learned the barren bolo in 1 month, honestly. And I came back that weekend, I think, from that trip. And I won the tournament. And I beat guys that beat me at my first tournament. So I was like, damn, there you go. It all paid off.
That's crazy.
But that was a crazy experience. Like, eye-opening. I learned a lot about the grind and the technique. It's always nice to get new looks. Even though in Northridge, like, we have a lot of good training partners, it's always good to get like a change of scenery and change. You know, it's just change up the routine and just gain knowledge from other people. And yeah, I'm really happy I did that. I learned a lot from that. I honestly don't think I'd be the same competitor today if I didn't do that trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, great times, man. I missed it. I gotta come back. I can't believe it's been 8 years. That's unbelievable. Honestly.
8 years. Wow. I was wondering that too, but I mean, a couple questions based on that. I remember that time too, man. You were like a skinny kid with the big ears, man.
I still have big ears. I just got like a little bigger, and I got some hair and beard, so it like kind of covers it. But it's
way different now, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, way different. Yeah, I mean, you say you suck at jiu-jitsu, but this is not true, Johnathan. I remember him coming in, and he was like the first guy I saw that was really good at spider guard and just like spider guard triangle and everybody. And the footlock. You did spider guards and footlocks back then.
Yeah, exactly.
But you talking about Samuel, like that's the same thing I experienced with him too, man. I'd played sports my whole life. I'd never met a guy that grinded like that. And I was like, dude.
Yeah, definitely. He loves grind.
Man, you wouldn't believe how many people, maybe you would, how many people come from Brazil or wherever, and they're like, hey, I'm going to come train with Samuel. I'm going to be here for a year, and I'm going to be a world champion. It'll be like 3 or 4 days later, dude's like, hey, I got to go. I got to go, man. I got to get out of here.
Samuel's nuts, man. Like, I did. I mean, Homo was nuts too, because if I lived in Homo, it'd be the same thing. So yeah, I'm glad I got like my own experiences from them, and then I created my own schedule, because if I lived with them my whole life, I'd probably be dead from stress by now,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
or broken. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
for people that are watching this later, we post it. Just so everyone knows, Edwin's professor Homolo and our professor Samuel kind of came up together from
Yep.
they call it GBHB, I guess, or BH, Belo Horizonte, Brazil. And so we have this mutual connection through Draculino and Homolo and Samuel being training partners in the past. So
yeah. I'm pretty much like Samuel was there from the beginning. Even when I was a white belt, I remember him in the gym, training for competitions. I've always seen him since day one. So I was like, yo, I want to be. Honestly, my goal always in jiu-jitsu, it wasn't even to be the best. It was just to become like homies with the black belts in my gym. You know, I was like, yo, I just want to be friends with those guys. Like,
Yeah, like
I want to be part of that clique. Like that was
Yeah.
my goal. Like I want to be able to hang out with Homeland Samuel and just like be on the same level as them. You know, so
yeah.
like I think that's everyone's goal, to be honest. You know, when white belts, blue belts, like they want to just become cool with the black belts, and
You respect
it's yeah, it's all sports are like that. It's like rookies coming into the NFL or whatever, and they're just trying to become boys to veterans. So that was always my goal. And then like one day I was like, yo, this is kind of cool. I'm actually homies with these guys. Like I'm not like a fucking blue belt that's getting bullied all day. This is nice. Feels good. That
Yeah,
was the day where I felt like, oh yeah, maybe I accomplished something in this sport.
yeah. Something you said, man, that I didn't really prepare to ask you this, but my brother, I told him we were doing this interview, and he's like, dude, ask him how he came up with the flying triangle. And then you said you actually got flying triangle. Was that why you started doing it, or like how did that come
No,
about?
I just randomly did it one day, honestly. I was a purple belt, my second year purple belt. I even know, I remember the tournament. It was like in February of my last year as a purple belt. And I was going to fight like a San Francisco Open, I think. And then I randomly just collar dragged this brown belt. I still remember him. His name was Hernando. I collar dragged him, and then he like based. This is going to sound crazy, but I had some kind of injury, I remember, and I couldn't play guard. But I don't know why the hell I would fly in triangle if I couldn't play guard. But whatever it was, I just
It worked
jumped
out.
for it. And I just jumped for it, and it just worked in sparring. And I was like, yo, hold on. Like, just stop sparring. Let me just do that one more time.
Yeah.
Because I just hit it, like, really clean. And then he just stopped, and I did it again. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, this is pretty good. And I just, like, I'm not a big driller. Sorry, Samuel.
That's
But,
Johnathan too, the same way.
Yeah,
I'm the
so
opposite. I love drilling, man.
yeah, I just did it a couple times in this training that day, and then I just thought about it. Like I'm like big about just like thinking about what I'm gonna do, and then yeah, and then I followed the San Francisco Open that weekend, and I got like, and then Milton Bastos was the referee of my match. I was a purple belt, and of like that bracket, and I was like, yo, watch this. I have a sick move. I'm not gonna tell you, but just watch. He's the ref of my match. Like I'm gonna try to pull it off, and then I got 3 in a row. And then and then he's like, bro, is that the movement? I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, dude, I think I just discovered something. So at that moment, I was like, holy shit, like these guys literally can't stop it. And then from like Marigali, I find Triangle Marigali and all those guys, whatever, like within like those 4 months. I think I created it in like February. And by June, like I already had like 60, 70 flying triangles, because every single open, like no one knew how to stop it. No one knew anything about it. So,
I tell people, man, I'm like, that Marygali flying triangle was not one of the greatest jiu-jitsu moments. That was one of the greatest sports moments I've literally ever seen. That was like crazy.
it could be, yeah. That was definitely that was an unreal moment for sure.
You had like
I
a
wish
video of your dad recording it too. I remember
that's
somebody
hilarious.
posted on social media. I was like, this is awesome.
All my friends are there. All my friends are there for my division. I literally had like 100 people there for my division, and then I lost. I lost in the final to a guy that I beat a couple times before, and then everyone left because they thought I was gonna lose the whole point, and then I ended up winning the whole point. So just crazy how life works out, you know.
So you like you mentioned you don't like to drill, man. I'm right there with you. Not that I don't like it; it's just not my favorite. I come from a wrestling background first, so in wrestling, you do more. It's play wrestling. It's like flowing with a little bit of resistance, and that's how we train. And so that kind of carried into my jiu-jitsu. Is that what you like to do? That type of training?
Yeah, I would say yeah. My brain is just too like I'm just too active. Like I have too much energy. Like I can I love doing speed drills, and like but like just like Yeah, I'd rather flow roll with somebody, to be honest.
Yeah. I get kind of bored with drills a little bit,
Me
just a
too.
little
Me
bit.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. I gotta stay like locked in. But drilling will definitely make you better, or just any sort of practice in
Yeah.
anything. But
Yeah. And it's kind of one of those things where, you know, it's good for you as a person to do things that you don't love that are
100%.
hard to
Yep.
just be dedicated and grow overall.
Definitely. I think a lot of black belts are guilty of this, just falling into this trap of not improving their game and then just doing their A game. Like I would say probably like 90% of jiu-jitsu black belts do this. They just become really good at a game and they don't evolve. They don't get better at other aspects, because they could literally beat most guys, especially like local guys, that come to their gym, and they just come to using their that game and they don't get better. And you see this all the time. So it's really important. Honestly, I've fallen into that trap before too. I was like, yo, holy shit, I've been training for a year and I haven't added anything to my game. Just doing the same shit. Like so, like I actually I banned myself from doing stuff. Like I probably haven't done a Darson training in like, I don't know, maybe like in 6 months, 7 months. So I'm like, yo, this is getting too easy for me to Darce everybody. I'm just gonna stop doing it because my game's getting worse, and I'm just gonna focus on my back takes. Whatever. That's just,
Mhm.
that's just an example. So I think that's important. And you can start drilling in sparring. I actually learned that from Samuel. Samuel and Homo do that a lot. They drill in sparring. Like I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they just have like a technique and they just keep trying to do it on you during sparring. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do
Like
that a lot, and
Messi
I
said the
do
same
that.
thing to me. He said that like my sparring sessions are essentially drilling sessions.
Yeah, definitely. Don't just. I mean, there are sparring sessions where you should just freestyle, which is good for your brain too, because a lot of people are victim to having game plans when they compete, or and then when they can't execute their game plan, they panic. This is that's a huge like aspect of sports. They panic when they can't do their game plan, or they panic when they can't get to the A game, or when things get rough. So
Yeah.
it is good to train freestyle sometimes, like crazy scrambles, get in shitty positions, learn how to get out. But then it is good to do the other way too. So
That reminds me of your match with Marcio Andre. It was like
yep.
you probably had a game plan, didn't work because that guy moves probably one of the best movements in jiu-jitsu. You know, and
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, like,
that was a crazy match. Yeah. To be honest, I never have a game plan. I don't think I've ever followed a game plan in my life. You know, I think I followed a game plan maybe like less than 10 times, and I think I've lost probably like 95% of those matches.
yeah,
So
Man,
I stopped game planning.
man, Edwin, I've been following you for a long time on social media, but I just realized that you're a man after my own heart, man. We're the same.
Yes,
We
sir.
just we just like to go fight, man.
Yeah,
Just go
I,
fight.
I I love to fight. Honestly, I hate game plans. I really like to enjoy the moment. Honestly, like I've always told myself, like if a lot of times I knew I wouldn't enjoy competing, so I didn't compete. I just like, even if it was a big tournament, like last year, I knew I was gonna enjoy fighting the worlds. I didn't do it. To be honest, like I really didn't want to fight ACC last year, but I did it. But yeah, like I'm all about enjoying the moment. I'm never gonna do something if I don't enjoy it.
yeah.
I will like literally stop fighting just like tomorrow if I stop enjoying it. And yeah, like honestly, if I have to fight to win by fucking double bar pool or advantage, like I'd rather never fight again, or I lose every match. So that's just not me.
Yeah.
I think that's why people enjoy my style and whatever my Najmi style, because yeah, that's just, I don't care. I want to go out and have fun. I want to put on a show. Like I want to do the crazy move on the best guy. I don't care, you know, like
Mhm.
even if that means me getting fucking slammed on my head or losing, like I'm gonna take that risk every time. So
Yeah.
that's just me, and that's how I remember my idols in sports. Like those are the people that I idolize. Like all those guys, the greats, they take risks. Um, some of them might not be fucking undefeated, but you respect the guys that take risks and go for the kill. So that's
100%.
my ideology, I guess.
This is
Well,
a good segue, man, for the next question. Get back to my list here is with the exciting style, you know, like we all respect athletes who have like an exciting style. Like Allen
Yeah,
Iverson used to be one of my favorite guys in basketball.
he's my favorite player ever. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
I love
That's my
Iverson.
favorite basketball player ever. But basically, like the sport of jiu-jitsu. Like I was listening to an interview with John Danaher yesterday, right after ADCC, and he said his ultimate goal is to grow the sport of jiu-jitsu to like more mainstream. You know, maybe it won't ever be on like ESPN, maybe it will, who knows. But and I think he said his biggest thing into doing that is teaching students to have an exciting style. And this is a question for
Yep.
both guys, and Edwin, you can start, is what do you think, like how far do you think jiu-jitsu can go as a sport in terms of like viewership? Because most people that watch jiu-jitsu also do jiu-jitsu. You know, will it ever be to the point where other people that don't do jiu-jitsu are watching it? And what do you think it will take to get to that level if you think it can?
I think a lot of things need to change. I think a lot of rule sets are like wacky. There's too many rule sets. There's not like a unified rule set. To be honest, I think the rule set needs to be a lot more simple. I think the matches need to be shorter, and the competitors need to be more exciting. I don't know what the incentive needs to be, but I think those are the three things. Nobody wants to watch a 10-minute jiu-jitsu fight. Like, I don't either. It's too long, you know, to wait for one grip or one double guard pull. Like we like, you know, even honestly, I don't even appreciate it anymore. Like, I'm just over it. I'm like, I can't watch this guy.
Yeah.
Holding these groups 10 minutes. I can't do it. I hate it. That's why honestly I've been watching jiu-jitsu lately. But I think it's got to be quick. It's got to be quick pace. Like, you guys watch basketball or any other sport, there's action every second. There's got to be like maybe like a 6-minute match, I think, maximum. And there's got to be strict penalty calls, and I think no advantages.
Yeah.
There's got to be just points, and I don't think there should be referee decision. There should just be like maybe a golden point at the end if it's tied, something like that, with no guard pulls or something like that. It's got to be like pure action based. That's the only way I see it going mainstream. Because
do you think there's a possibility of it going more mainstream, or like?
There's a possibility. I think it'd be really tough, to be honest. Jiu-jitsu is not the best not the most spectator friendly sport. It's something where you have to kind of do it to appreciate it. But once you do it, you're gonna love it. It's just getting everyone into it. But I think it's definitely possible. I wouldn't say we're close to it. But yeah, we just need more. We need more personalities in the sport, I would say, as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think no-gi grappling is bringing out those guys, but yeah, just more personalities, more outspoken, and not so many robots. You know, there's a lot of robots in jiu-jitsu. They all do the same thing. You know, like, everyone's trying to copy each other. They have the same style, same beliefs. And like, I don't think these kids even believe in what they believe in. They just do it because everyone else does it. So it's just like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, there's a lot of robots in jiu-jitsu. Like, it's like,
there's some gyms, everybody has the same haircut, and
everyone has the same haircut. People are scared to like be loud and be a little different, and because they're gonna, I don't know, like in jiu-jitsu, there's this conception where if you're loud and you're different, you're like disrespectful. Yeah. And you know, because there's a lot of people are all about respect, and I'm all about respect, but I'm loud and I'm different. You know, so that's like the example I'm trying to set. Like, you can speak your mind, you can whatever. You don't need to say "oath" every 6 words, and bow and pray to God every day and whatever. You know, it's all good. You could be yourself and talk and cuss and still be respectful. It's all good. Like, be yourself. Different personalities are good for the sport, and I think that's something. I think people are starting to realize that more and more now. But a lot of these kids are just trying to be like clone copies of all these guys, and it's like, dude, you're never gonna be good as that guy. You know, so you know, it's just like every player you've seen in any sport, they're never a copy of another guy. They were their own guy. So I think yeah.
I'd like to just kind of follow up a little bit with what Edwin said. First thing I'll say, just to reiterate, I do think that the matches need to be shorter. If you look at wrestling, I'm an avid wrestling fan. Folk style or collegiate style wrestling isn't as popular internationally as freestyle. In fact, freestyle is an Olympic sport, where collegiate or folk style isn't. In collegiate and folk style wrestling, you can ride someone. You can be on top and just ride them for minutes, and the ref doesn't do much about it. In freestyle, if you're not scoring, they're standing you back up. It's 2-3 minute rounds. It's fast paced. And they're about that action. And that's how it's an Olympic sport, and it's internationally recognized and popular. So I think to speed it up, to get rid of advantages, and to force people to go for submissions and scoring, and not to stall, you know. Yep. And then the other aspect is, and this is kind of a counterintuitive, I think, maybe for some people, but instead of trying to make it popular from the top down, I think if we really want it to be mainstream, we go from the bottom up. In other words, the reason why baseball has been historically famous is little kids play their whole life, and they look up and they say, I want to be like the big leaguers. And so they're playing baseball in their yard or in the local, schools and rec leagues and stuff, and they're looking up to these professional athletes. Well, we have professional jiu-jitsu athletes right now with Edwin, Joe, you're on the rise, Samuel, other guys. but the more we have the bottom growth where these kids are getting into it young and competing and doing jiu-jitsu, and they have these athletes to look to and say, I want to be a professional, then it starts to grow from the bottom up. That's my opinion.
I agree with that. Honestly, I think the best like pro events I've watched were like lower belt events, because lower belts don't give a shit. When a lot of guys get the black belt, they're scared to lose, and they don't fight like kind of like balls to the wall. I think to this day the best event I've ever fought in is the jiu-jitsu battle. Want versus Need. I don't know if you guys remember those, but you guys should look.
I remember it, man, and I remember a Royal too was something similar to that.
Yeah. Royal was kind of similar to that. Yeah, but the OG one was like jiu-jitsu battle. If you guys like, it was underground, like in a graffiti fucking warehouse, and it was sick, bro. Like I literally fought 3 30-minute matches to win $500. Like I killed myself to win $500. You know, but like it was just dope because I had nothing to lose. I was a purple belt, you know, and then. Like, I think those are the dopest fights. Like no one would tap. I remember I fought Isaac Dorline. The third one, I literally broke both his feet with 2 foot locks. I broke both his feet. He couldn't walk.
For $500.
$500. He didn't tap. I ended up beating him on like I don't know, like ride time or like something. Like he didn't tap. So those are like the sickest fights ever. Underground, like literally, like the people, like the spectators are right next to you, yelling in your face and stuff like that. So.
I agree, man. And we'll move on after this one, but I agree with both you guys. Like, I think more exciting matches, but one thing I disagree on a little bit, I don't know if it has to be lower time, and I do think jiu-jitsu can grow to one of the biggest sports potentially, because like, look at skateboarding, look at what is baseball. Like, we're throwing a wooden ball and we're hitting it over a fence. Like, that became the most popular sport in America. Grappling is 2 guys going in, and somebody's going to finish somebody, and somebody's not going to walk off the mat. Like, even kids know what they're doing when they're doing that. So, like, it's in our human nature to like that. Now, what it takes to make that entertaining, me personally, I think it's the personal stories of the fighter and, like, getting to know the fighters. And that's kind of where my next question is going to go to right here. And it's basically like your style. You mentioned Allen Iverson earlier. What are like some of your influences in your style? I know you're all about the style and stuff like that.
And we're not talking necessarily just jiu-jitsu style. I mean, your style, right? Like my style is influenced by, I grew up in Alabama. So you can imagine what my country family's like. Master's life, because I'm pushing 40, so I wear comfortable shoes, and I like Peaky Blinders, so I sometimes dress like those guys. Who's your influence there?
I don't know. I don't think I do have any influences, honestly. I'm trying to think about it.
I mean, because you definitely have a style game, right? You're unique. You're different.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's just always been me since I was a kid. I was just like different, I feel like when I started, I kind of lost some of that swag and style when I started jiu-jitsu, because in jiu-jitsu, when you're a lower belt, you're kind of scared to be like disrespectful, like what I just talked about earlier. And I kind of became like a robot for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I've always had like this style. I definitely always appreciate Allen Iverson. He's probably a big influence. He's basically that guy in the NBA, right? He changed the whole game. He got them out of suits. He's wearing durags, cornrows, all that stuff. But I always like the wild, like vibrant competitors. I'm trying to think who I looked up to, but it's weird because the people I looked up to kind of weren't like that. My favorite fighter ever was like George St. Pierre. Like he's not like that at all. He's just like a fucking zen, like.
Yeah.
Like
take something a little bit from everybody, like
that's the key. I was talking about this. I did a podcast a couple days ago, and I was like, a lot of people just try to be copies and clones, and you guys take a little bit out of everybody. That's all it is. Even when it comes to your style and even your jiu-jitsu style, the biggest key in anything in life improving is just always not having an ego and always looking for improvement. So
because I would argue, man, that and we can get into this a little bit more later, but I would argue that your style, the way you carry yourself, is part of your game. I mean, because it's your confidence. It gets in other people's heads. It's, I mean,
yeah. If I shave my head and my beard, I swear to God, I would not fight as good. Like that is. Okay, somebody like 2 years ago, like all my friends thought it was a great idea for me to shave my beard and my hair. I had like really short hair and I didn't have a beard, and I literally felt like naked for like 4 months. I had no swag, and I swear to God, I felt bad. I'm not kidding. So like
I believe
that
it. I believe
that
it.
statement is true. Like you look good, you feel good, you fight good. That is 100% facts. I've literally won tournaments just feeling fucking good and no training and just wipe people out. And then I've trained
Don't
really
stop,
hard and
man.
and I've trained really hard and not felt good and not won.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
I think it's
man.
spilling over into like your mental game, how you feel and how you perform. Because I mean, I think we can all agree that when you get to a certain level in whatever sport, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, other sports, once you get to a certain level, it's little bitty things that make the difference, right? And that may just be the way you feel mentally in that match.
yeah, the whole game is mental, to be honest. You gotta be confident. It's hard. Like I was really confident. Like honestly, like my first 2 years of black belt, 3 years of black belt, first 3 years, I was just smoking fools. Like I was feeling good. Like my first year, I won the Pan Ams, I won the WWE Pro. I basically won every tournament of my first year of black belt except for the Worlds, and I lost in the final. And then my second year of black belt, again, I felt really good. I won most of the tournaments, ACB, everything. And then my is this my fifth year now? Yeah, this is my fifth year now. So my third year, I felt like pretty shitty. Like, I had a bad year. It happens. That's sports. Like you gotta realize, no matter how confident you are, you're gonna have bad years. You're gonna have a bad stretch. Like no matter how good you are, and whether that's like uh, depends on a variety of factors. And then when I tore my ACL third year, and then I came back, I didn't have that confidence. I thought I did, but like I didn't have the movement. Like you can be confident in your ability, but when you don't have that ability, like it takes a while to get back. So I
Yeah.
think it took me a long time. Like I tore my ACL on November 2019, 2018. I'm sorry. So it's been on like a year and a couple months now, and I feel like just now I'm getting my confidence back and my swagger back. Like, it took me a long
Yeah.
time. I fought a lot of tournaments. Honestly, not ready to win. Just like I would just think like, all right, man, I might just ball out, like because I've done that so many times before. Like I've done it a lot of times. Like, I'm not ready. I'm probably gonna lose this fight, but fuck it, I might just ball out because this is just me. Like I could do that at any moment.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think a lot of
But
people
I've
don't.
lost like
Uh,
that.
uh, I believe there's people that maybe watching this later or just watching any professional jiu-jitsu athlete over time, and they don't realize that that is part of your career, like
Yep.
how you build yourself up in your style
Yep.
and the way you carry yourself is part of your career. And I think that sometimes people may look at you from the outside, you being like a unique guy and who has a lot of swag, as you say, or whatever. They may look at that from the outside and say, that's so over here he's a jiu-jitsu athlete, and over here he's like the stylish guy. But in reality, that is part of your jiu-jitsu game. And I think that you said you don't really know exactly who influences you, but even the fact that you pointed out Allen Iverson, even though he's a different sport, the way he carried himself is very similar to the way you carry yourself.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I think the best way. I don't know. I think now, um, the best path to being like the best version of yourself, I would say, the path to being the best version of yourself is being really good, feeling freaking good, really good. Like that's how I literally felt like I was unstoppable. I was like, yo, how can people even lose at black belt? Like I feel like this is easy. Like I'm just killing these guys, and then going to feeling really shitty, like really shitty. Like I feel like I suck. I'm like, dude, I'm trash. Like that's literally how I felt for the past year. Like my jiu sucks. Like what the hell happened to me? Where like now I'm not 100% back yet because I haven't fought all the big tournaments, but and we have Corona now. But now I'm like really getting my rhythm back, and then now once I really get back to it, like that journey of like being really good and being really shitty and coming back, I feel like that's gonna make me like 10 times better than I was before. Like now I appreciate everything, like work ethic, a lot of work ethic. Like before, I didn't really believe in work ethic. It was just like fucking. I'm just gonna go no matter what. I'm gonna ball out. I don't care if I'm in bad shape. I'm dying. Like that's just like a do or die attitude. But even then, like you need to work hard. It's not just all talent. But yeah, I think that journey of just like I think most athletes go through that, and I would say probably 90% of athletes when they go through that they cannot bounce back. It's really hard to bounce back because they're not true with themselves though, because they just think they're like you gotta admit to yourself that you're shitty and you're not good for that period of time, and that you're gonna get better. A lot of people think they're still really good at that time, and then they really never, like, they have an ego and they don't put themselves in that bad situation, and they never get back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a really bad year. I tore my ACL. I came back. I literally cracked my sternum the week that I fought Dante Leon. I never even told anyone that. I fought Dante Leon with a cracked sternum. I was like winning for like 7 minutes, and I got choked.
That dude a Homoloo? Because I'm pretty sure he almost cracked my sternum one time too.
I double legged the guy literally 3 days before the tournament, and the guy and when I landed on top of his body, he had his knee up, and literally just fucking boom, knee me in the chest, cracked it. I literally kicked it with my body. Whatever, fought him, lost. I felt like really low. That was probably like the lowest I've ever felt in my life, like as a competitor, in a long time. Like it probably since blow. And then yeah, I came back. I won like a couple of fights, and at ADCC I got murked. So then after that, I was like, fuck this. I like trained hard for like 3 months, and now I lost. This fucking sucks. So after ADCC, I didn't train hard for probably like 3 months. And then like in December, I started training hard again and feeling good. And then I got hit by Corona. But yeah, dude, like the life of a competitor is not easy. It's not easy to put yourself out there. Hard, like fights. Like the hardest part is like trying to gain back momentum and all this stuff when you're already a big name. Where it's like, like if someone beats me, I know they're gonna fucking talk shit or put us something like that or whatever. That's the hardest part. But like you gotta just not care about any of that. And I think about that point in my life where I don't care. But like it's just whatever. It is what it is. Just keep fighting, keep getting experience. Who cares if you lose? Who cares? Who cares if you lose in training or whatever? You gotta just keep grinding and getting to your better.
The last thing I'll say about this, and then Joe's got a little bit more he wants to ask you, but I can totally empathize with you there a little bit. I'm not a world-class jiu-jitsu athlete by any means. I'm just an old guy who likes to fight. But I, my philosophy and personality is part of who I am as a fighter. In all of my fights, I mean, I'll compete at Master Worlds and things like that, but all of my fights for the most part are at practice. And but my kind of personality is where yours is that confident swag kind of style, smooth, comfortable. You don't seem to get nervous or rattled, and you're just level-headed, like, I got this. And mine is more of a I'm not afraid of anybody sort of thing. Like it's like a fearless thing. And that comes from my Alabama kind of country boy background where it's like, hey, man, I'm going to put it on the line and I'm not afraid of anybody. And that comes out in the way I fight, so I can totally see that. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about that very thing is I think that people need to realize that when you're building your game for jiu-jitsu, build it around who you are. And it's going to be different for you than the other guy,
Yep. Definitely. Yeah. Don't try to be copying someone else's game. Like, pick one. Just try to get a technique from everybody. I went to Samuel in 2013. At 2012, I learned the Berimbolo, and I think it's probably my best technique. I'm not kidding. A lot of people ask me, "What's your best technique?" I say it's my Berimbolo. I think I'm not kidding. It's my go-to number 100% sweep. Like if I get under and I grab that grip, I know I'm gonna take your back or sweep you every time. And
if you ever see my Instagram page, look for my two boys, my 6-year-old, 9-year-old, doing Berimbolos during quarantine. during quarantine, they're doing Berimbolos in the living room, man.
Nice. Yeah, but as an athlete, I think the most important thing is just like just putting yourself in that going through that shitty moment and accepting that you're vulnerable, and I think that's the biggest key. I love it. We'll see. It's tough, man. It's tough. Like I was talking about this on another podcast a couple of days ago. It's just like when you're an athlete and you have a rhythm and you're just rolling, like you gotta just keep going. Like just keep fighting. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't take breaks. Like you see Kainan and Gordon, they just keep fighting every weekend. They just keep fucking winning, because when you're winning and you're confident, you just find ways to win. It's crazy, but that's just how sports are. And I think sports are all momentum. Yeah. That's why I think a lot of guys after this hiatus are not going to be good at jiu-jitsu. Trust me. Like a lot of good guys are going to be shitty because it's going to take a long time to get your time back. It's not easy. guys that compete every weekend, every month, and not they can't compete for 2-3 months, or can't even train. Like I haven't trained. It's going to affect a lot of guys that don't know how to deal with it.
I think, Joe, that's exactly what you were kind of getting towards, right, Joe?
Yeah, I love it, guys. Those are some cool answers. It's a lot of fun, and I think like to grow the sport, that's what people need to hear everybody's backstory and like get to know people. So that's why I think like doing something like this is a lot of fun. But I'll just ask you guys a couple quick questions, and we'll get out of here. But wanted to ask you guys, and you guys can elaborate on this however much you want to. But okay, so here's a couple right here. So where do you think jiu-jitsu is going to go in the next year with this the coronavirus? Do you think we get right back to it? What do you guys think?
Yeah. I'll throw it out there real quick. I think to capitalize a little bit on what Edwin's already said, I do think it's going to be slow. Like it's going to be a slow start for a lot of people, right? And I think what Edwin's getting at was momentum. He was talking about how momentum is so important in sports. For some people, breaking that momentum that they had is going to have a huge effect. Maybe for some guys who handle themselves differently, they'll be able to jump right back in. But I think overall, it's going to be a slow start for two reasons. One, because the momentum's broken. Two, because I think all politics aside, people are going to be a little bit fearful of being in large groups and things like that for a little while. You know, maybe not everyone, but at least a portion of people. So I think we're going to see a slow start.
All right, Edwin.
I agree with that. I think depending on the person, depending on what they've been through, I think guys that have been through injuries and stuff are going to deal with the layoff easier. Guys that haven't, that just compete all the time, are going to have a hard time getting that rhythm back. Besides the aspect of performance, people are definitely going to be scared to even train. I think. I think jiu-jitsu schools are probably going to be. I would say jiu-jitsu schools and yoga studios are going to be the last businesses to recover from this, from a business standpoint and training standpoint. Like they're gonna take the longest to normalize. That being said, I think our current students are gonna like jiu-jitsu a lot better. They're gonna love jiu-jitsu because now I think a lot of people are realizing, like, holy shit, like what do I do all day? Like jiu-jitsu fills a big void in my life. Like, you know, it's nice to go and train and have that locker room talk and talk shit and have that brotherhood. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. And I think a lot of our current students are going to appreciate that a lot more. I know I'm going to appreciate that a lot more. I'm like all day. I'm like, yo, what do I do all day? Like I play video games now. I Twitch all day because I have so much free time.
Good seeing that, man. That's dope.
But I think it's gonna be hard, definitely, to get newer students from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely gonna affect everybody athletically and from a business standpoint.
Okay, another one here, and I hope maybe with this Corona thing, I would like to see you talked about the underground tournaments earlier. I would like to see some of those come back. You know, like that way you don't have to have a big crowd. You put it online somewhere and like get some really good fighters to come out. I would love to see that. But tournament or super fight? What do you guys think? Like, do you like to participate in tournaments more or super fights more? Edwin, what do you
personally?
Think?
Yeah. Super fight, it's a lot easier. It's one fight. But I do feel like you will never get a you'll probably never see a masterclass performance from a super fight compared to a tournament. Because in a tournament, when you fight a tournament, as each match goes by, you just gain momentum, and as you gain momentum, like through the fights, you're like evolving. You're like a Pokemon. Like, you know, you start like phase 1 in your first fight, and I'm not kidding. By the time you beat 3-4 guys, like you're like final form, and you're hot, and you're rolling, and it just like you're just dusting people, you know. So whereas like in a super fight, like I don't know, I'm not a big warm up guy or like whatever. And even in warm up, it's not the same as a fight. It takes time for you to get into that fight. And by the time you get in the fight, you're like, oh, shit, I'm losing or whatever. Like, there's only 3 minutes left. And that's why sometimes you get, like, boring super fights. Mm-hmm. So, personally, I think super fights are obviously easier. It's only one fight. A tournament's hard. You're more calculated. But I think you'll never get, like, all the masterclass, all like, the best performances we've seen in jiu-jitsu history all come from tournaments. Except, I would say the only person that's – exception to that is probably Galval.
Yeah.
Galval's like the master at one fight. He just comes in hot. I don't know. Like he should make a fucking ebook on his warm up. I would buy it. I'm not kidding, dude. He just comes out swinging, bro. I'm not, like he's a gorilla, bro.
Yeah.
Just
His match
tossing
with
like,
Philippe was insane.
like Felice, my boy, but he just like fucking, you know, he just tossing him. I'm like, bro, what? Like what? You know, like who, who is this guy? You know, he's like a mutant. You know, he's just a monster, and he just like he's ready. You know, like you know, Felipe's getting in there. Like, he's just like, you know, like gonna shake hands, like you know, run around a little bit, just get into the fight. This guy's just fucking pounding him from the get go. So, I would say probably he's the only person I can think of that's just does that, you know. But everyone else, I think, just fights better as they get rhythms in tournaments. But that's just my opinion of fights in a tournament.
I think that's a good point I've never even thought about before, is gaining momentum during the event, during the tournament. I think that's great.
Yeah.
As far as I'm not, like I said, I'm not a world-class competitor, but I did, I wrestled for years. So I've had a lot of competitions because wrestlers, you wrestled, I don't know, 50, 60 matches a year for all these years, and I would say that, now that I think about what Edwin said, that's true. My best performances would typically come in the finals of a tournament, but I would have the most fun at duel matches. And the reason why is twofold. One, because there's more crowd involvement, right? Because you're just focused on these two guys going, there's not other matches going on at the same time. There's two guys. So there's the crowd involvement. The person that you're going to fight ahead of time. So you've kind of built up this mental battle, within yourself, and they've done the same. So there's a little bit more of a one-on-one war going on, where in a tournament, you kind of don't know who you're going to fight. You're not as focused on one individual. And then I'd say the last thing, the reason why I think super fights maybe better for the sport is because of that backstory part of things, right? So like, we love a story. I mean, that's why Conor McGregor and Khabib is such a, has what it has. If we had that fight again, the world would go crazy, right? If you had a rematch. So that backstory, right? So, and that's where that character and that swag and all that stuff matters, right? So you build this story, you've got two people, and that's one way to grow the sport, because we can get the crowd involved and have them following their guy, whoever their guy is. And then all of a sudden you've got team versus team carried out through two individuals. And I think that that's really key.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think tournaments should ever be a discussion when it comes to like getting jiu-jitsu mainstream. They should never stream tournaments. It's going to be boring. When you have especially think about it, if a guy is conservative in a super fight, think about it in a tournament. They're 10 times more conservative because they're scared to get tired. Like no, you can't go balls to the wall for 5 fights. You can't even go balls to the wall for 2 fights. So no, definitely when it comes to a spectator aspect, you definitely want to fight super fights. And personally, of course, you want to fight super fights as well. It's a lot easier. You know the guy. It's less energy. But
I've noticed that you seem to be doing more super fights the last couple of years than maybe tournaments. Is that for that reason? Is it financial? Is it both? I mean, I know there's more money in super fights.
To be honest, I was at my friend's house on a random weekend. Oh, I think it was the weekend of. Was it the weekend of Khabib and Conor? Might have been the weekend of Khabib and Conor. I can't remember. Anyways, this guy hit me up. He's like, "Yo, you want to fight tomorrow in your hometown, Burbank?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Yeah, it's $25K to you." And I'm like, "Oh, sure, yeah, it's a tournament though." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's just sign up." And I just fought the tournament, and I tore my ACL on my first match. Like random tournament, and I got paid like fucking $300 for it. Then after that, I was like, "Yo," like I just thought about it a lot. I didn't train for 4 months. I just thought about everything a lot, and I was like, all right, yeah. I don't know if I should fight random tournaments for like nothing anymore. Like, is it worth it? Like, I just like.
Well, you're a professional athlete. I mean, you wouldn't ask I mean, every once in a while, I guess they do it, but you wouldn't ask, LeBron to go play basketball in my backyard with.
It's not, it's not that, but like, yeah. And I was like, all right, do I want to fight all these IBJJF Opens or these random tournaments to get experience? It took me a long time to start. I don't even think I fought I haven't even fought a tournament since then, honestly. I don't think I've fought a tournament. I fought one tournament in the past like 3 years, just all super fights pretty much, because I was like, yo, is it worth it? But I think now I'm finally a little more comfortable. And to be the best, you do need to fight those tournaments. That's the fucked up part about our sport. That
Like
you have
meows.
to,
Look at the freaking meows, dude.
yeah, you have to fight those tournaments. You have to get that experience to gain that rhythm. You can't gain that from just fighting super fights every week or every month. You have to fight those tournaments, because also when you fight super fights, everyone you fight is good. Everyone's really good. When you fight tournaments, there are going to be some guys that are like a little lower level that you could try new stuff, like stun on them, get a little more confidence. I think, yeah, the risk is high, but to be the best, you do need to fight those tournaments to gain that rhythm. But again, it sucks. Like you go to Chicago Open and you pay your way there, and then you pay your registration, and then imagine you get hurt, and then you have nothing to show for it, and then there you go. See you back in a year. So it's a tough sport, but jiu-jitsu is a really, really shitty sport, bro. Like if you want to go pro or whatever, you want to make just a living, like think about it. It's not easy. Like a lot of the guys
Tell
even
all
win.
the young guys at my gym that tell me they want to be a
Bro,
champion. I'm like, bro, be prepared to just,
you gotta, yeah. You
like
definitely
crap.
gonna have to teach one day. You definitely gonna have to teach one day, whether it's DVDs or seminars or a school. You're gonna have to teach one day to make a living. Like you're not gonna make a living just competing. No one does. Like, and yeah, man, it's easy. There's a lot of guys that even win all the time. There's black world champions that just, even them, they have no brand or anything. So it's not even just about winning. It's about creating a brand, being unique. You see a lot of guys that are just like 4-time black world champions and no one even knows them.
Yeah.
So it's really hard, honestly. I don't even know if it's worth it if I go back, but it's
Yeah, but I just couldn't
a
see.
lot of fun.
I wish I was a baseball player instead.
But I was gonna say I couldn't see you as like an accountant or anything.
No, you can't.
I don't think you could carry your swag into the accounting firm.
No, I couldn't. But yeah, it's not, a lot of people think it's easy. It's not easy. It's a really tough sport. There's not that much money involved. You gotta really love what you do. Like you should definitely, yeah, like that's the reason I started teaching. Like I thought about my future, and I was like, all right, I should probably open a school right now. I'm probably not gonna lose that much off my training. I lost a little bit, I would say. Like in the past year, I didn't train as much because I was teaching, but it's okay. Like whatever. I'm 27. It was like I opened when I was 26. It was a good time. It's already been a year. All my white belts, everyone's getting better now. I have training partners. I figured out my schedule, so I basically lost like a year of competing, kind of like at a high level. But I'm glad I did it, because I know at like 32, when all these guys like finish competing, they're like, oh, what the hell do I do now? How do I make money? I'm like, you're gonna fight to win every month, like to make money? Like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna have like an established business in 5-6 years. So I think it's definitely the move. It sucks. I wish I could just train all day and make a lot of money like all these other professional athletes, but it is what it is. Honestly, I really enjoy having a school. Yeah, I don't know how I did just before not having a school. It feels really good, man. I'm sure you guys know how it is. Yeah. Having your own students, watching them grow, getting them better. It's a different part, and it kind of like gets you ready for like your life after competing. It's nice. I know it's really easy to think about that, but like even now, like something I think about it, I'm like, yo, I really enjoy training with these white belts and teaching them, and maybe I think about it all the time. I was like, I honestly don't even need to compete anymore. Like if I didn't want to compete one day, I woke up and I didn't want to compete. It's fine. I'm okay. Like I enjoy this life. This is fun. And I'm glad I did that early. So.
And teaching, I mean, you may not be training as much, but man, the mental training, the analytical side of your game, I do believe that teaching can do some things for that you can't get otherwise.
Yeah, it's not even that. I just like being around people. I just like creating that family environment, that brotherhood. I think that's what I enjoy most. Like creating your own team. Yeah, it's just cool. Like people looking up to you, people asking you for advice, teaching people jiu-jitsu from nothing. Like I was looking back now, like a year ago. We haven't been open for a year, but like 6 months ago, like some of my rivals didn't know anything, and now they're like kind of good. I
was gonna say, do you have any guys that can make you work yet?
No. Yeah, but they're getting better. Like
Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt. What about Spencer Pratt?
Spencer's good. Yeah, he's tough. I do private swim. I've been training with Spencer for 3 years now, but it's fun, man. It's fun. It's nice expanding outside of just competing. A lot of competitors Which I guess some people have to just do one thing to be good at something. They just fucking, that's the only thing they focus on. But it's nice to get out and branch out and learn about other things, teaching jiu-jitsu, teaching privates, whatever, training with other guys, not just training hard, not just being focused and locked in all the time. It's nice just like seeing different perspectives of life and jiu-jitsu life, because you're going to be there one day. So you might as well get comfortable with it now. So yeah, it's cool, man. I really enjoyed having a school. I'm really happy I did it. I don't regret it at all.
That's cool.
It's great.
All right, guys. Last two, and I'll get you out of here. If you could go back to white belt Edwin, white belt Johnathan, and tell them one thing, what would you tell that person? Anything? Would you give them any advice? Would you tell them to do something different?
Work harder, more work ethic.
Yeah.
Don't rely so much on talent.
Yeah.
I think that's something I've noticed. I've learned more through the years. Like, just like, no matter how talented you are, you still have to work hard. You know, like, talent only takes you so far. And I feel like just now I'm like, I understand that concept at 27. Like, I'm like, all right, like, you need to work hard, kid. Like, you need to go on the run on Saturday morning or whatever. You got to stretch more. You got to, like, do mobility or whatever it may be that's going to make you better.
So much to be done. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of times I just like, yeah, I was like, dude, I'm the freaking best. I'm gonna go freaking just kill this guy. Like, whatever. I'm just gonna train hard. You know, I can just do it. And yeah, the thing is, like, you gain a lot of confidence through work ethic. I don't think a lot of people realize that. You gain a lot of confidence through work ethic, and if you have talent already on top of that, you'll be pretty unstoppable. So yeah, if I went back, I would tell myself to work harder, train more, train harder, focus on other things, not just balling out in competition. And yeah.
So for me, so I'm 30. I just turned 37. So my body is feeling some things that it hasn't felt before. So I would go back. I would tell myself two things. One, take better care of your body. I've always been, an athlete, wrestler, jiu-jitsu, and other sports. And so I've always been working out, but I haven't always stretched well. I haven't always made sure I had time to recover. I haven't always warmed up like I should before practice. You might find me walk in and just go roll, and now that I'm 37, man, if I could go back to the 25-year-old me, 27, I would say, hey, man, in 10 years, you're going to regret not taking care of your body a little bit better. Be a little smarter about your training. So that would be one thing. The other thing is something that I've picked up over the last year or two, and I tell my kids this, is stop competing against your training partners. And what I mean by that is, instead of competing against my good friend Joe, what I do is I compete against jiu-jitsu. So I'm always trying to beat the game of jiu-jitsu. It's like a video game, and I can never beat it, but I can keep leveling up. And I tell my kids, what happens when you beat a video game? You want a new one. You're done with it. It's over. You don't want to beat it again. You want something new. Jiu-jitsu is a game that you can never beat. I just want to keep leveling up. And so I don't compete against Joe. I compete against Joe's guard. So it's my passing versus his guard. And when I took that personal side of practice away, man, I started having fun because I started experimenting, trying things. I wasn't worried about losing because I'm not losing to my friend. I'm losing to jiu-jitsu. And so that really changed my mentality.
Yeah. I like that. That's a really good point. A lot of people are like scared to lose in training or put yourself in bad spots. And that's like, that's probably like one of the hardest things in jiu-jitsu to, okay, I'll tell you this. A lot of people go into jiu-jitsu with an ego, and then they quickly lose that ego, and they get humbled, right? And then they just get beat up, and then they get good at jiu-jitsu, right? There's like a point where you get good at jiu-jitsu, and then they start to get that ego back.
100%.
That happens a lot of jiu-jitsu,
100%.
and then they don't want to lose again. So like you can never like, and this happened before. Like, yo, I don't want to lose a training today, but then you gotta just check yourself because it is natural, and then you gotta start putting yourself back in those shitty situations.
Mm-hmm.
So. Because what happens, a lot of people, they only train on offense and they don't train on defense. And then that's where the game stops evolving. So when I train my students, I let everybody start on my back with the rear naked choke. I've got choked so many times from Spencer or all these guys. I just let them start on my back, or start with the choke, a triangle, whatever, armbar, and then I just try to get out of these shitty positions. So yeah, I think you hit on the nail. Just don't compete with your training partners. They're there to help you. Put yourself in bad positions. You should lose in training all the time. You should put yourself in bad spots all the time. I do that all the time. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's really annoying, especially for people that do it as a hobby. It's like it's probably the hardest hobby in the world. You know, you gotta constantly check yourself, put yourself in uncomfortable spots. You have to be uncomfortable all the time. And yeah, man, it's a never ending journey of improving. It's crazy. I don't know, like we're probably psychopaths for doing jiu-jitsu as a hobby.
We're
It's like
definitely not normal. We're
we're
definitely
definitely
not.
not normal. Yeah, if you do jiu-jitsu, it's not normal. Like people are like, yo, I'm gonna come train. I'm like, all right, like you can come, but it's not as easy as just training. It's a commitment. Like
Yeah.
this is a grind. This is like having a girlfriend. This is like it's literally you have a relationship with jiu-jitsu. It's like that. If you want to be good, yeah, it's you have to look at it like that. You know, so yeah, man, never ending journey. It's and we're all on it together.
Love it. All right, guys. Last question. This one's kind of just fun. I just wanted to throw this one out here. If you could create the perfect grappler, so you got like takedowns from Jordan Burroughs, guard from the Meow Brother, what attributes? Who would you steal from each one? Let's just say you go takedown, top game, guard. What do you guys got? Anybody jumping on that one first? I'll give you mine. Mine would be takedowns. Like you got to go with Burroughs. You know, I think like the guard. I think the Meow Brothers have some of the best guards of all time. A mixture of Samuel, Edwin's flying triangles, and the Meows, and then top game Adolfo Vieira. Man, that guy was just straight up monster on top. So
I like that. I like that.
What do you guys do?
I want to say, dude, honestly, I was gonna go with takedowns because, like, when it comes to from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, I was gonna go with takedowns and top game with Rodolfo. To be honest,
Yeah.
I like Rodolfo a lot. He's like one of my favorites of all time. I think he's my favorite competitor of all time when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Like outside of my own team, dude, his style is just like that.
First team all body too. That guy's straight
Dude,
body.
if Buchecha didn't exist, he would literally be like a 15-time world champion. Like those 2 years before Buchecha came, he was just dusting people. Like I've never seen people like just get destroyed like that, just running through people like they were like children. So yeah, I would say Rodolfo top game and takedown, and I want to say guard. Personally, my favorite style of guard, I want to say Braulio Estima. I think he's someone where like that really influenced my game.
Yeah.
And I look at him as like a big brother. And yeah, my game is pretty similar to his, like submission oriented. Yeah,
I watched a roll with him the other day. They posted Marcelo Garcia's. It was just a roll of them in the gym. Marcelo Aurelio, and if you guys get the chance to check it out, it's like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life.
Check it out, dude. Braulio is the craziest person to train with. By the way, I don't know if you guys have ever trained with him. He's nuts. He does not care. Like he goes 100% every roll. He's crazy. And he's down to train at any time. Like when I was in Puerto Rico, he was in jean shorts and like drinking beer, and he would train with me and Craig Jones for like an hour in jean shorts and tap everybody. And I'm like, yo, what the like fuck this guy? He just had a Corona and he's in jean shorts. So like he's wild. Like he just down the scrap at any time. He does not give a shit. And dude, honestly, I would say Braulio is probably one of the biggest influences on my game and style too. He is like very careless. Like doesn't care, just goes balls to the wall, and yeah, I would say Braulio.
I got so for takedowns, I got Galvao, because I think that and this is coming from a wrestler. One of the major, or I don't want to say major, significant issues I see is trying to bring pure wrestling into jiu-jitsu and not modifying it, because it actually puts you in a bad spot, right? So I've spent the last probably 6 years trying to take my wrestling from all those years and modify it enough to make it work for jiu-jitsu. I'm always troubleshooting that, because kimuras, guillotines, all sorts of things happen when you shoot like a regular wrestler, right? And so I think Galvao has found a way to notice how when he shoots in for the leg, he gets in and out. So his head doesn't get caught, his arm doesn't get caught. So he's able to penetrate and disengage just enough to have control of your leg, but not be inside space, because all the submissions happen from about the chest to the knee. If your head or arms are in that area, submissions are happening, right? So he can get in and out. So he does that really, really well, and that I think that helps him in the ADCC, of course. So I'd say Galvao on the takedowns. On the guard, I'm going with Mikey right now. today, presently. I think Mikey's his guard is maybe the hardest guard to pass in jiu-jitsu right now, right?
He's
Um,
Samuel. He's
what's
basically.
that?
I would say like his
Yeah.
guard is very similar to Samuel.
Yeah. He's Samuel minus all the years that Samuel and I have on each other.
He does a lot of things Samuel do, and a lot of people don't realize. Like Samuel and Mikey, I've seen him literally drill for 4.5 hours. And bro,
Yeah,
like, are you guys not fucking bored? Like, what are you guys doing? You know?
Right.
And they're all day just in the fucking corner, just like spinning around each other. And I'm just like, holy shit. So I think a lot of people don't realize a lot of Mikey's game comes from Samuel. You know, a lot of Samuel doesn't get a lot of credit, honestly.
You're right.
Maybe
You're right.
Maybe because he pushed glare at me and people try to blacklist him or whatever. But he doesn't get a lot of credit, and that's just how sports works though. Like a lot of sports people, there's just some people that don't get credit. You can't explain it. He doesn't get a lot of credit for what he's done, but dude, he changed the game forever. Like with his game, like my whole Del Hiva game is from Samuel, and I think he's probably, I would say probably one of the most technical guys of all time. I put him in my top 5.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, maybe because he's in Knoxville and he's in Tennessee and people don't, I don't know.
And he kind of flies under the radar a little bit,
He
like
does.
with the social media game and stuff, and he's okay with that. That's who that's who he is. And if he was an active competitor, I think that I would put him or Mikey in that same spot because they're basically the same guy. Yeah. Just different generations, right, of the same guy. Now for the top.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for the top, man. All right, so my favorite passer, just because I just love his style, is Leandro Lowe. I just love to watch him. I just love how he passes. He's so fun to watch. I find myself in class like pretending to be him, just trying to play that game, act like I'm super tired, and then blast past you. So I like him, and then of course Terere. His passing is just
nice,
nasty passing. So yeah, fill in the blank. Mikey or Samuel on guard, Lowe or Terere passing, and Gavao on the takedowns, and especially the no-gi ADCC style takedowns.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to be honest, now I was just thinking about it, and I was like, yo, a lot of my training, like the way I train, honestly, I would say it's like I'm like pretty much like a copy of Samuel, because I remember Samuel training when I was. This is like, I will never forget this ever. I was a white belt, and Samuel was there, and there was a big ass brown belt or a black belt, Martin. Like he's a monster, big dude, like 220.
Mike. Oh, was it Mike?
Mike too. I remember Mike from Knoxville. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Cali. Got you.
Yeah, in Cali. And Samuel was literally like, this guy was like, Samuel was literally dancing on this guy, and he's like, "You want one plot on your right arm, or you want your left arm? Huh? You want Kimura? You want one plot?" I'm like, "Bro, he's shit. This guy shit talking this guy. This little guy shit talking to this big guy, and then he fucking one plot on him." He's like, "You like that? You like that?" And then he takes back. This is a nasty boy. This is a nasty boy. And then it's a choking. I'm like, yo, this little dude is talking shit to this big dude and just smoking him, bro. This is dope. And actually now when I train a lot of my students and guys that are like not as like obviously like I can do that too. I do that all the time too. I'm like playful in the training. I'm like talking shit. I'm like, oh, ooh, you like that? Ooh, So yeah. I'm pretty sure I got that from Samuel, because from what I remember, Samuel used to do that a lot. He loves shit talking when he trains. It's amazing.
Dude, I'll say this about Samuel. Like I grew up wrestling, and I've wrestled the #1 wrestler in the nation multiple times growing up, and traveled around the country wrestling, high level wrestling. And I thought that based on my wrestling and the little bit of jiu-jitsu I had, that, me being 170 pounds at the time, and Samuel being I'm like, look, man, I've wrestled the best wrestlers in the country, whatever. Dude, he made me believe in jiu-jitsu. Like I'd seen, you know what I mean? Like I had seen it. I'd seen the UFC. I'd seen, the Gracies and all that. But you don't believe it until you feel it. And Samuel made me a believer. He owns, in my opinion, the best grappler. And I'm not talking wrestling, I'm grappling. He's the best grappler that I have ever been in contact with in my life. And that's top, takedowns, guard, scrambles, tenacity. He is the best grappler I've ever trained with, period.
Yeah. I think the best way to learn jiu-jitsu, honestly, is from a small guy, because it really makes you like believe in jiu-jitsu. You know, like when you see like, dude, he's like we all know he's a badass, but if a normal human saw Samuel, they'd be like, all right, like who is this guy? You know, like they would not think he's like that good, and then they probably get a reality check real quick. So I've always thought that. I've always thought the best way. I've always tried to learn jiu-jitsu from smaller guys. You know, because big guys sometimes they can power through. I think like the big guys that we train with are exceptions. Homo's very technical. Whatever, Philippe, all these guys, Gabriel. But for the most part, the small guys are crazy good, and they really make you believe in the art. Honestly, you know, like if I walked in the gym one day and there was Samuel teaching, and then he just beat the crap out of everybody, I'd be like, yo, who the hell is this guy? You know, I need to train under him. So definitely, Samuel's probably the scariest low key 140-pound male in the world.
Yeah, he is.
You know, he looks like a little like he looks like a computer programmer, you know, and then you train him and he beats the shit out of you.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's the man.
Well, this was awesome, guys. I had a lot of fun, man. I talk about Samuel being in Knoxville, man. I think about that every day, like how lucky we are just randomly in Knoxville, Tennessee, how he's there. I think how awesome it was to meet guys like you, Edwin, and Johnathan, and that we're able to do something like this. So really grateful to have done this. This was a lot of fun, man. And let's train together soon, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I got one thing for you before you go, Edwin. I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, man, but if not, you can use this and you know, you can take it. But do you know what they call like a child goat or a young goat?
No.
You know what a young goat's called?
No.
The kid. Do you know that?
I like that.
Yeah. So you're on your way, man. That's what what a young goat's called.
Dude, I'm 3 years from 30. I don't know if I can be called a kid anymore, but I'm gonna keep running with the nickname.
Hey,
and I'll be the man soon.
Yeah, soon enough it'll be the goat, man. That's what a young kid.
I like that. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you guys.
All right, man.
That was a lot of fun, guys. Great talk, man.
Thanks, Edwin. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys.
Man. All right, take care.
Os.
Guys.